on a serious side, I want to take you back. You said something very interesting. You talked about dealing with depression and anxiety, right? And I know 2021, our little big brother, Lane Johnson of the Eagles, you had a chance to help him out to get back because he left a little bit from the Eagles. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think in this world we live in as far as sports, right? Reporter base, player base, we all deal with the same things. And I want you to just talk about like how that was of helping Lane out, a ball player, right?
Yeah.
And you're on your side to help him get back to the Eagles.
You know what's wilder? I said I started that mixed martial arts training program.
Yeah.
Lane lived with me and my son for 4 or 5 months. As season
Word.
promoted, lived with us. So he know how fucked up I was, but never said anything about him. And that's the problem that we had. But also, like, man, I speak to a lot of teams now about this, where I say, this unbreakable mindset that I created for these guys. Like our fighters and football players, if you were hurt or tired, you will never, ever, ever know. Fuck you, I will never give you the satisfaction. And meanwhile, we're going to be relentless. We're going to wear you out. But that's why you see Lane doesn't have his hands on his hips, like torn adductors. You don't know. You never see it. And we need that in football and fighting. But unfortunately, it's that same attitude that a lot of us carry outside of cage or off the field that gets us to cave in, like a guy like Lane, and gets them to fall off the reservation, drive right past the stadium, right to Oklahoma. And, you know, we need to start prioritizing our mental health differently now. And I tell these guys now, dude, especially as a team, lean into your freaking teammates. Best thing that's ever happened to me is I started opening up and talking about this shit. I never did. And I said, if you know, first of all, it makes you so much closer as a team. But I hit it for, again, this is my earliest childhood memory. I don't know any other way to wake up every morning, feel the skies falling, feel the universe hates me, and I know the universe doesn't, like God and the universe love me. But the roommates in your head tell you really fucked up things.
Right.
And it's an everyday freaking thing. And you think about it, like guys on a team, once I started opening up to the world, and the very first time I ever did it was, man, about 4 years ago, right before my book. And I tell teams all the time, I know you're afraid to do this. I put this out there. And Mercedes Lewis, who's, you know, in his 82nd year right now, I've trained Mercedes for years, starting 15, 16 years ago. And the first text I got when I put this out there were like, folks, this is my truth. I always want to be of service. I'm writing a book about it, but that's not coming out for a while. And I want to wait for what's on the pages to be able to help people. This is my truth. It's what I got. Anybody else has some issues out there? I got your back. We got to build this team together. And within 30 seconds, Mercedes Lewis hits me up. Says, Coach, man, I knew you were crazy, and that's a badge of honor in football and fighting. I didn't know you were in pain. I'm sorry. I got you. Think about that.
Right.
Mercedes went from a friend to a brother. We were brothers from fighting, but that's different. And he checks on me every single week of my life since then. And then Strahan, again, who's my baby sister, we've been friends with since 93, he says to me, like, man, why have you never told me anything? I said, I don't make up the rules just like with you. I felt ashamed. And he said, yeah, but you took away my chance to be your best friend for 30 years by not saying nothing. And that was what I told Lane after that. Like, hey, Lane, and think about how powerful that is.
That's
He's
wild,
looking at me,
yeah.
not only did you not, like, was this not pushing me away, Jay? Like, I want to be there as your best friend. This allows me to be of service. That's what brothers do.
Right.
And that's what I got Lane to start doing after that. Of, hey, bro, we need to start leaning into each other, checking up on each other. That's real brotherhood. When things are going down, and listen, Lane still deals with anxiety.
Yeah.
And before games, he calls me. He still throws up blood. Like, but I'm like, hey, now's the time. That means you're putting on your armor. You get to go fight today. Instead of like pushing back on this thing, all right, it's fight night, it's game night, it's game day. It's just great. You live for this. And just understand, all right, this is part of my armor now. So it's not taking hold of you, you're using it. But think of the difference, like now he gets to lean into us when this stuff is going down instead of, you know, dealing with meds or something, messing with his meds or anything like that, just to try and get his head good. And now you got a team to be able to do that with. And I got an army of them out there now, which is, it's a beautiful thing. And it's way, way, way less painful. I still go through it because it's, you know, it's just there, but I got a way better way to deal with it.
How to deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's very interesting what you said. I want to dive a little deeper. Obviously, a lot of people are dealing with the mental health and depression.
Yeah.
What are some ways or like suggestions for people that are going through that? Like, how do you relieve yourself? Obviously, is it fighting, MMA? Like, what do you do to cope or get away from that issue that you have, or to anybody else that's dealing with them problems?
Yeah. So I started getting rituals. So now when I wake up in the morning, I do breath work, meditation with my wife. I do this gratitude list. And that's all before I look at my phone, which I used to wake up to problems every day. Nothing good happens on this thing.
Right.
Nothing good happens where none of us really are the heir to a Nigerian prince where we're going to get $2 billion. That shit don't happen. Okay. So now at least I got myself in a better thing. Then I work out immediately. Right. So working out is, man, we could put that in pill form and be one of the best antidepressants ever. But when I'm struggling, when I'm going through it, one, I call 2 people and tell them I am struggling. And I call 2 other people and not tell them, but I check up on them. Because that's me being of service. And being of service is another thing that really helps lift me up. But it's, unfortunately, I've been on, man, I'm thinking about somewhere about 32, 34 meds, something like that, for all the spectrum. Wow. And I've never found anything that's helped me. I have for ADHD a thing called Qelbree, which is a non-stimulant. But as far as depression, anxiety, nothing works for me. I wish I was a weed guy, but I'm not.
What about marijuana?
Yeah, somebody should be a weed guy. It should be me. Man, I suck at it though. I get more power than it sucks.
I can help you out with that. I'll help you out with that.
Trust me, I trained with Wiz Khalifa for 7 years. I had the goat right there.
Oh,
and I sucked it.
Yes.
The goat under Snoop Dogg.
That's Snoop too, yeah. No, shit. Trust me. I've had it right there, man. And he's always pushing shit on me. No, gotta try this. You gotta do this. And every time I've tried it with him, man, I wake up on a different planet.
I think for myself, I want to speak specifically. I lost my dad in 2009 to pancreatic cancer, and it was like my dad was my everything. He was my backbone. Yeah. Obviously, my whole career, like he meant so much to me. So I was young. I was 21 years old, and I didn't really have that backbone that like anytime I'm messing up, get on your stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't have that no more. So for me, like my piece was like going to the water, like going to the ocean, just sitting out and just watching the rays come in and just hear that sound. Like it kind of like relieved me. So I don't know. I'm just curious because people go through a lot of things, and it's like certain things work for individuals and certain things don't. You know what I'm saying?